Hello, it is Eddie here, Brainy Eddie. There's one person that I seem to have an affinity with in this country, and I'm trying to contact him. He's a bit like I was when I was young. He's called Professor Brian COX. Now, if he didn't have that word professor in front of his name, he'd be totally ignored like me. And he is the only person on TV that I look at for scientific evidence. And I want to be able to contact him, to email him, or get him to contact me. Go to my website, youtube.com/elsofilms, or I have Skype. He can get to me on Skype video link, and my phone number is +44 01822 833 444. And I have some theories that I'd like to put to him. There are several, but there's one, and my theory is that everything from the smallest thing is there bigger and bigger and bigger. And then for the sake of a hydrogen molecule is one proton and neutrons with one electron going around it, which is almost the same as the Earth with the moon going around it. And then you've got the universe going around the sun, which is similar to something else. But I take this even further. I take that the whole cosmos, the galaxies are the same, only larger going around. And the theory I have is that you set off into space, traveling at billions of light years, the speed of billions of light years, and carried on long enough, you'd come back to where you started. In other words, that the entire cosmos is another circle. That's my main theory. I also have other theories about cancer, and I can't get anybody to take any notice of me, but if somebody like him was to say something, they might listen. So if there's anybody who knows how to contact him, I'm not terribly good. I'm 77 this year, and I'm not very good at running around the web. I'm better off trying to repair a computer than I am trying to run the internet. It's far too complicated, and they keep trying to stop you. I tried to tweet him, and I don't even know what happens after you tweeted so far. It suddenly goes brown. I'm guessing it means I've used too many characters. I don't know. But most people look at Brian COX, and if he didn't have that professor in front of him, he'd think he was a young teenager. And when I was in my 30s, I was the same. I looked like a young Tom Hanks. And it was very advantageous to me, because I used to play poker and brag and that, and they couldn't understand, these teenagers, how I was wiping the floor with them. They didn't realize I was twice their age. I had 6 years in the Merchant Navy, been around the world 3 times, played all these games on board ship, and it's like chess. Drafts was one game. There was a chap on one ship I was on. Nobody ever beat him at drafts. Of course, they'd give up and go away. I played him at drafts. I must have lost to him about 200 times. And each time I was watching what he was doing, and I worked out what his technique was, and I started beating him. And that made him happy because he got fed up. You do when, there's no challenge, you get fed up. And the simple technique was that moving one space at a time diagonally, doing the exact opposite what everybody does in drafts or checkers, keeping the back row. Because if you move the 3 drafts from the corner, one at a time, you've only moved one space forward. The fourth on the other side of the board has moved 4 places forward. Which means he's running into trouble because he's got all the rest of these blocks. And the front draft checker is protected by the 2 that are behind it. And unless you're really stupid, which I caught him out on when I realised what he was doing, because I set traps for it then. I set a trap whereby that I'd get him to take a move, and that would set him up, and then I would take out the middle draft. That then left him losing 3, and I'd only lost 2. And that's thinking something about 5 or 6 moves ahead. And chess is very much the same. I haven't played chess for years, but when I was at sea, I used to play darts, and I once went into a pub and they were playing darts, and I said, talked about joining the darts team, and they said, "Oh, are you good enough?" So I said, "Call out a double." They called out a number. I went whang, got the double. Call out another one. I went whang, got that one. Called out another number. I went whang, all 3 doubles. I never played darts from them, and I've never done that since. Not actually had 3 doubles on the trot, 3 different doubles on the trot. But that's confidence for you. If you've watched any of my videos of Elvis, on my 60th birthday, there's a show in Calstock. When I go to the club, my first drink will be a Bacardi and Coke, maybe 2, and we're talking about 7 o'clock in the evening. For the rest of the evening, I'll just drink Coke. So that the time closing time comes at 10, 11 o'clock, all the alcohol I've taken has left the body anyway. So if I'm breathalyzed, which I had been, it's 0. And but on my birthday, as I say, strange birthday, isn't it, where you perform an Elvis act for the club on your birthday. The sneaky sods, they started putting vodka in my Coke. And if you put vodka in Coke, it's not like Bacardi. You can taste Bacardi in Coke, but vodka that I was drinking, I thought it was Coke I was drinking. And at the end, I must have passed out. I woke up the next day back in my bunk at home. I then had to get somebody to drive me back down to the club to pick up my van. Because I used to have a video van. Some of my videos, you can see it on the white van with TV and video on the side. But electronics was my thing. But I'm into science, all types of science. Both chemistry, biology, and there's lots of things. I seem to be able to pick up anything, and that's like the singing. That was an accident. Somebody, I had to stand in because I was on the entertainment committee, and they couldn't get somebody for the Christmas Eve party. I had 3 months. In 3 months, I built the equipment, I built the light units, I got a microphone, I got a backtrack disc, I rigged up an echo unit on it, and it was so good when I'd done it, they didn't believe it was real. They thought it was fake, that I was just miming to records. Anyway, I also combined it as a disco, because I didn't do Elvis all the time. I'd do Elvis for an hour, and then I'd play, you know, pop disco records. All I charged the club was £30, and it cost me more than that in records. But then that's me. I'm very much like Elvis in all sorts of ways. Elvis used to give his things away. People have a shock when a Cadillac arrives at their house. Somebody he'd seen and spoken to, and he did something, and next day there's a Cadillac parked outside their house. They wonder what it was, and the keys there with a note saying, "This is a present from Elvis." Now, I had a TV and video rental business. I had something like 50 customers, and when I had to retire, I didn't sell it to Radio Rentals or Rediffusion or any of the local companies or whatnot. I gave all the rental sets to the people that had been rented from me over a year. And those that had only been with, you know, my new customers had only been with me a year, I gave them at cost. And they said to me, "Oh, what are we going to do without you?" I said, "Well, you put the money that you would normally be giving me each month into a post office account." And I said, "If your set goes wrong, the only difference will be you'll have to ping it to me." Because I got to the stage where I couldn't go driving out and carrying TVs around. And they would bring them to me, put it on the bench, I'd repair it. 9 times out of 10 I wouldn't charge them anything for it anyway. Because the situation I'm in now is ludicrous. Because I'm on pension credit, and that includes the guaranteed pension credit on top of that, which means I'm entitled to free glasses, free teeth, free all sorts of free things, including legal aid and I don't know what. But I'm saving money simply because I'm disabled and I get a ridiculous £50 a week mobility. Since Christmas I've put £15 worth of petrol in my car. I hardly ever drive it. Because you knew I'm starting to fidget around now, but because I'm on prednisone, I've only just taken it recently, and it takes about an hour or so for it to take effect. Prednisone is called. It's a drug that dampens the immune system. They use it for transplant patients. I've got what they call an overactive immune system. And there are only two things that cause problems today in illness and cancer and things like that. It's either overactive or weak. People that get cancer is a weak immune system. I said to my doctor the other day, "Why they talk about all these different kinds of cancer?" I said, "There's only one kind of cancer." "Oh, no, there's breast cancer, there's liver cancer, there's colon cancer, there's pancreas cancer, there's cancer of the skin." I said, "If that's the case, how is it that when somebody comes up with cancer of the liver, it spreads to cancer of the kidneys, cancer of the lungs, and cancer of the stomach and whatnot?" I said, "Isn't it obvious that it's one thing just moving to a different part of the body?" Which is the case. And it's very, very simple. 2 pills is all that's required to cure 90% of problems a day. 1 pill to improve the immune system and 1 pill to dampen the immune system. The big problem is finding out which is which. If they have a test that can tell exactly how weak or how strong your immune system is, a very weak system's going to need more pills to boost it. I think one of my problems is that I've got too strong an immune system. It's because I've never been able to drink the water. I cannot stand the taste of chlorine. And I've bought somebody said, "Oh, have bottled water," and I tasted bottled water, and it's got chlorine in it. It tastes the chlorine to me anyway, and my body rejects chlorine. It'll make me sick. My body rejects milk and butter and cream. It'll make me sick, and that's why I'm trying to contact Brian Cox, because if he started stating these things to people, they'd listen. And when you look at Brian Cox, you think he looks like a teenager with his long hair and whatnot. He looks a bit like me when I was doing Elvis. And he looks too young to be a professor. Now, the only reason he's a professor, was able to go to university and pass these exams. The reason I couldn't do it was I was the son of a farm worker, couldn't go to college or university or a posh school or anything. I had to go to a secondary school, and half the time I knew more than the teachers. Nobody likes a big head, you see. But I've always said, if you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody will. But if anybody sees this, I expect you've already switched off. I sometimes wonder, I put a video up yesterday and 22 people have already viewed it. I wonder if they viewed more than the first couple of minutes. But they are. If you see any of my videos, watch to the end. Even if there's something you're not interested in, just skip through it and go on to the next item, because I don't have any notes or anything. I sit and talk as I'm sitting talking to you and saying something that's come to my head, and I'll switch subjects as that happens. I'd love to take I'd love to go on a TV debate with all the different parties, from UKIP, Tory, Labour, Lib Dem, Communist, Greens, the whole lot. One person from each of these parties, and I'll wipe the floor with a lot of them, because some of the nonsense they come out with is ridiculous. Do you know what? The situation today is very similar to what it was when I was a teenager. That's the reason I went in the Merchant Navy. I couldn't get a job anywhere. The only job I could get was on a farm, and it turned my stomach to working with chicken in a battery. The smell, dead cruel, should never be allowed. But it's cheap, you see, cheap eggs, and unfortunately we don't care much about chicken. Anyway, my sister does. All her chicken are free range, and I get eggs off her. I had lovely pancakes this week. Made too much. The rest of it I put in my tin foil trays and froze it. And I'll have a beef burger with the Yorkshire pudding and roast potatoes, cabbage and all. If you look at my cooking, you'll see what my Sunday roast looks like. I do it all myself. I do my own cleaning. I do my own designing of stuff. I use a cheap home karaoke machine for my guitar. And one American bloke tweeted to me. He said, I paid $2.5 grand for a system to get that sound. He said, it's not quite Jimi Hendrix, he said, but it didn't draw off. This was playing the Star Spangled Banner with no backing, just me and the guitar and this karaoke unit. All my stuff is genuine. There is only one record where there is me and Elvis, and that is listed as, is it me, Elvis, or both? And the answer is all three. I used a voice depression unit which cuts out Elvis's voice. If I sing quietly, not too loud, it's a duet. If I say nothing, it's pure Elvis. If I sing loud, Elvis is cut out and it's just me. And it's very, very difficult to tell when it switches from one to the other. That's why I put it up. And that is the only one of my videos, that should have a copyright claim on it. Because that really is Elvis at part. And I think some of the things that they say of me are copyright, or actually should be called cover songs. Because I've just discovered that a cover song just means that you're singing a song somebody else has sung before. Which every one of the Elvis songs that I do. And if you think it's fake, there's one number I do, solo, guitar, just me playing the guitar and singing I Love You Because. And the reason is, I had no backing track for it, I couldn't find it anywhere, and it was never been put up, and I thought, oh well, I'll sit in front of the thing with the webcam like I'm doing to you now, just took the guitar, played and sing the song. One of the troubles is that these, what's you call it, mics, they tend to make the guitar too loud and my voice not loud enough, so I sort of have to lean forward. Anyway, that's all. If anybody can get Brian Cox to contact me, I'd be really delighted. I don't know whether he reads it if you tweet him, but I'm going on a bit now. I'm going to stop this because I've got something else to put up that I want to title separately. Goodbye!